Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. You know, roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right?
Yeah.
I want the man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West.
Internet. You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Auto Off Topic. How are you, Brad?
I'm wonderful, Andrew. How are you today?
I'm great. You know, we were discussing before this podcast what we're going to talk about because it's been a little slow, right? It's we've had episodes like this before. It's kind of the middle of the summer. I was like, oh, what am I going to call this episode? Oh, the dog box days of summer. Wait, no, I've used that before for the same time of year. So I'll have to come up with something else. But it's you know, we got to talk about the weather, right? It's been like crazy hot and humid. I haven't wanted to work on anything. I just been playing video games because Forza did some updates.
So this is why I left that part of the country.
Yep.
Because if it's not too cold to do stuff, it's too gross and too hot to do stuff. So
I generally don't mind, but it was like really humid.
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, here, yes, it's hot, but during the time when it's not hot, which is most of the year, it's also not too cold. So it works out just fine. So unfortunately, because it's too hot there and too hot here, neither one of us have much car progress.
No, the only thing maybe I didn't cover, I got, no, I think I talked about it. I got the Galant inspected. I actually have an appointment for it to go over to Fast Track for an alignment on Tuesday because I never really aligned it after I did the coilers. I just kind of did my own alignment, but I wasn't happy with the way it came out. And I think one of the coilers, actually, the camera adjustment slipped. It was driving kind of weird. So I'm just going to have them set it up for, I just told them street specs. And
yeah, not too aggressive.
No, yeah, not at all. Very, very normal. And then, because there's no New England Forest Rally this year. That's the other thing that would be this time of year. But instead, next weekend, the 28th, they're just doing a Sports Car Club of New Hampshire is holding a gravel sprint at, or a gravel trial. I think they call them gravel trials now.
I think trial is the name because sprint was under the old.
Yeah. SCCA canceled Rally Sprints. Sports Car Club of New Hampshire picked them up as gravel trials. So they're doing one on Sunday at Team O'Neill. We've got some friends going. So I'm going to go up and hang out and crew for those friends and just check it out. And I wanted to drive the Galant up because hopefully it's a nice day and be a nice good ride for it.
Yeah, a good stretch its legs, run some fuel through it.
Yeah,
get everything
exactly.
cleaned up and up to operating temperature.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to go on a long drive once in a while. Actually, I'm planning on doing that myself this weekend. We're doing a kind of a shakedown run of that big rally that we're planning. I'm going to do on Saturday and hopefully do that in the Eclipse for the same kind of reason. It's just been putting around the neighborhood the past, a couple of months. I haven't gone very far with it. So be good to get out there and stretch its legs as well.
I also had the Montero inspected today. It's fine. Ever since I started going to a different place, they don't give me a hard time on anything. Because I just go there with all my cars and they just know that it's never any problems with them. So that's cool.
Which is good. Having a go-to place is key. Now they're not going to let something fly that's obviously
No, they check everything.
bad, but at least they don't give you a hard time because, unfortunately, sometimes the inspection stations can be a little bit too picky over some things.
No, I think they actually know how to check ball joints in a truck like this, so it doesn't bother them when there's a little bit of play.
Right.
Because that's just the way they are.
I'm just thinking to many times in the past where there's been something that is not wrong, but it's been pointed out as wrong. Not just on the ball joints in that truck. There's been other ones in the past too. So
it probably does need some exhaust work. It's a little loud, but whatever. I keep saying I'm going to do that, and I haven't done it. So it's
but
probably one of those things like if I take the engine out, I'll do it, or I'll track down some of those like Australian headers for it or something, because I'm sure the manifolds are cracked. That probably doesn't help. But otherwise, it's been fine. I've been driving the G20 around. That car needs nothing. It's still shiny from last year from me trying to shine it up. After I finally got shiny, it's like still isn't shiny. So
and it's got good air conditioning, which is what matters right now.
It does, but I usually drive around with the windows down because it sounds good. So
I thought it was too hot, Andrew. Guess it's not that hot.
It's not that hot if you're moving.
Yeah, that's true.
But
unfortunately, it's that hot all the time here right now. So
yeah. So
no
NEF this weekend. No IMSA at Lime Rock, but they are doing some special, I don't know, it's like speed showcase or something.
It's like IROC Classics, right?
Yeah, but they're having an IROC race, which is interesting. Unfortunately, I can't make it. But, it's kind of a, I got my wish here where all the and even the NASCAR race is not this weekend. It was earlier in the season. I got my wish where everything was not on the same weekend.
Right.
And they did that by canceling a bunch of things. So,
yeah. Andrew can't make it to all three events. Let's just cancel two of them and move.
Yeah, exactly.
This weekend, if you are in New England looking for something to do, is that going to be? I think it's the Mistlewood weekend, right?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's on Sunday.
The show is on Sunday. I believe the tour is on Saturday. Yeah, I talked to your dad the other night because he was wondering if I was going. Unfortunately, I can't go. I got stuff going on this weekend. So I'm not doing any car stuff. This is just a car stuffless podcast.
Oh, excellent. This is auto way off topic.
Yeah.
Auto on the topic of not auto. Not auto off topic? I don't know. We'll come up with a name for it.
Yeah.
No car topic. I am doing car stuff this weekend because it is third Saturday. So I'm going to go and start my day at the 4 till 4 Shakedown Saturday. So that's, 7 a.m. or before, because it's before it gets too hot. And then I'll be, like I said, taking a drive up north and kind of doing some shakedown of my own for our Arizona Rising Sun Rally route, kind of making some route notes and adding some points of interest to the drive. So that's happening. But yeah, there's no other car stuff happening here either. It's kind of that lull part of the season, I guess, which you normally talk about in the wintertime, but is unfortunately, we both had a lot going on outside of actual cars that we haven't done much car stuff. You're working on house building stuff and I'm working on garage building stuff, but it's all for the greater good. I do have garage updates.
Well, the garage building is car related. So what do you got with that?
Well, it's been 3 weeks now since the slab's been poured. And
it's already been 3 weeks?
Yeah. And it's frustrating because the garage building company was all gung-ho about getting everything done and started. And then all of a sudden it was like silence. And we've called and we've emailed and we haven't heard back. And finally today, Naomi called them and there was like, hey, this person hasn't called us back. What's going on? Like, we like to plan because we need to find out we need to know how much space you need, which will determine how many cars need to move out of here. And B, we need to know when it's going to be because we're actually going to be going away for a few days. I want to make sure we're going to be around when you guys are planning on coming here. And then finally, we got transferred to the person we've been trying to get a hold of. And he answered with the classic, oh, yeah, I was just about to call you.
Yeah.
Sure. It's been 3 weeks, but you were just about to call the day we finally got a hold of you. Didn't have any information for me, but said that he'd look into it and call us back. Thankfully, he did. So it sounds like we're going to have our trusses delivered exactly when we're out of town, of course. But we'll make arrangements to make that work. So the main issue was because of the truss that we're going with, the trusses that we're going with needed to be custom built because they're not the standard style trusses they always use, because I did not want to have any kind of ceiling at like the mid height of the garage. That was the whole point of going with the barn style roof, so I could put lifts in. But they had to have those trusses specially made, and then they're oversized, so they need to be trucked in on a different kind of truck, I guess, which doesn't make any sense to me because they can't be that big. At most, they can be 10 feet tall by 24 feet long, which seems to me would fit on a standard truck. But whatever. I'm not gonna dig too deep into that. But they did give us a date. The first weekend in August, they're going to deliver the trusses. And then the first week of August, they're going to come and start with the actual construction of the garage. So theoretically, I should have a building standing by the end of the first week in August.
So are they doing any crane work?
No.
Huh.
Which also lends me to say, why would they need oversized vehicle permits? Because it's not oversized. Because again, the peak height of the roof is 20 feet.
Yeah.
The wall height is 8 feet. The main wall. Which means that there's 12 foot of difference between the peak of the roof and the wall. And it's a barn style, so it's not just that one peak there's one peak, but it's not one roof surface. It has like the 2 roof surfaces per side.
Yep.
So 12 feet, I guess, would be as high as those trusses can be, right? And
so your overall height at the peak is 20 feet.
yeah, it's like 19 and change.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's
so
24
it's
feet wide. So they're not the length of a trailer. So if they go on a flatbed trailer, even standing straight up, I don't think that's taller than, I don't know. What do I know? I'm not in trucking. I'll let them do their thing. So
it's interesting to me, like when my dad built his garage, the walls are 12 feet, I believe. And those trusses were craned into place.
that garage is much bigger and the trusses are much bigger.
They are. So it's like, I don't know. I guess you have a lot of guys. That's a lot of, get a truss up 8 feet and then stand it up.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
fun.
maybe they are doing crane work, and I'm unaware of that. I don't know. I would assume if they were, I would have been told about it already, but who knows?
Or maybe you could use one of those extended forklift things. You could probably do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They know the access we have. You can't get a big truck in the backyard. It's a car-sized opening. Like you could put like a full-size pickup truck back there, but if you couldn't put a dually back there. So anything bigger than a full-size pickup truck isn't going to fit. So the crane would have to be on the front of the house and go over the top. But I don't think they're using a crane. But hey, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care. That's all. That's
not my problem.
Not my problem. They know the access. They've seen the property. They know where it goes. They'll figure it out. So I
That's
mean,
all you're
I'm
paying.
super excited to get the garage there. So that's obviously not going to be done that week. The building will be there. It comes probably it's a prefab, so it pretty much comes ready to go. The walls will be painted and up, and the roof will be on. But there'll be more work to be done. After that, I will have to do all the wiring on the inside. Then once all the wiring's done, all of the sheetrock insulation we're going to do ourselves. So it's going to be a little bit of time before it's ready to put a car in it. But and the doors, I think I talked about before, are going to have to be done separately because we're doing the high clearance doors, so they don't have to be in the way of the lift. So there's a lot of work to still be done before it becomes an actual garage. But having the building will be a huge step. So that what is today? The 18th of July. So another 2 weeks, and I should have a garage. And then, of course, I have to build up the driveway up to it because right now it's just a dirt pile up to a 6-inch lip into the garage. So we're gonna have to backfill that a little bit because we're not concreting the yard yet. We're just kind of gonna backfill it with some dirt and some crushed stone for now. Just because concreting the yard is an added expense that is out of budget at the moment. So eventually we'll concrete that, but one step at a time. So that's the next thing to happen here, and hopefully I can start having some car progress soon. Because right now everything's tucked in the backyard, and it looks terrible back there. Every time I walk in the backyard, I'm like, ugh, this place looks gross. We got to finish this.
All your grass is gone too.
Well, half the grass is still there, but it's got covered in cars right now because we moved everything out of the way for all the construction equipment, and then I wasn't going to put everything back because I haven't been driving everything because it's been summertime anyway, and we keep expecting a phone call being like, hey, we're going to come with the garage parts and build the garage, and never got it. So the cars have just been strewn about the backyard for a month and a half now. So it's a bit frustrating.
Have any cars left?
What do you mean, do you have any cars left?
I thought you had one car that might have been leaving.
No, it didn't leave yet.
Okay.
No. Which presents a problem as well because, you know what? Let's just talk about it officially. It's a low subject episode, so
yeah,
might as well talk about it. Because actually, I went to the junkyard this weekend to buy parts for this vehicle that's arriving.
Oh,
so yeah, so I bought a car. Sort of.
Buried the lead here.
Yeah, sort of. I haven't actually purchased said vehicle yet, but I've committed to it. Long-time listeners will know about the 78 Toyota pickup that needs a lot of work. And it came in pieces. The engine was in pieces. I put the engine together, got it to start, and it made no compression. So it needed an engine again. And I got frustrated at that point and had sunk about as much money into it as I wanted to sink into it at that time. And then just kind of parked it and forgot about it. And that's honestly what happened. I kept saying, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to it. But diminishing returns at some point, right? So
exactly.
Even if I put an engine in it, it still needed a ton of work. And I decided that I had a friend who's been bugging me to buy it for probably a year and a half. And I said, well, he's been bugging me that much. I might as well let it go to him. Long story short, his situation has changed a little bit, and his mother-in-law is living at his house, and he's down a parking spot. So now he's floundering a little, but that's okay. He's still committed to it. We should get it out of here. So it was supposed to leave this weekend, and it didn't, just due to life situations.
The old mother-in-law excuse.
Yeah, exactly. I told her, you're just bringing home a nice, comfortable bed for her. It's just in the back of a pickup truck. Put a twin mattress in there. That's a big space for her, but nonetheless. But in the certain time that all this has been going down, another friend of mine and I were chatting about Mighty Max pickups and how I did make a promise, and this doesn't hurt that promise, that I'm not going to buy another vehicle until cars go away. And I'm not going to buy another vehicle until I've purchased a vehicle that can go on off-road trips. So, and I only had 2 vehicles that I wanted for an off-road vehicle. I wanted either a first-gen Raider or Montero, like I used to have, or a Mighty Max pickup, preferably a first-gen, because the lines on them are very simple, and they're very pretty trucks. So I was talking to him about this said situation, and he said, "Oh, my dad has a first-gen Dodge Ram D50, which is a Mighty Max 4x4 that he bought brand new, and he parked it in 2005 and hasn't touched it since. He'd probably sell it." And I was like, "Well, I don't really have the space, money, or time right now for another project, but keep me in mind, and don't ever let it go away without talking to me first." So fast forward to a couple weeks ago, he's like, "Hey, I got some pictures of that truck. My dad said he'd be willing to let it go, and he'd want it kind of out of his yard, and my mother would thank you forever." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I guess send me some pictures of it, and then let me know what he wants." So he sent me some pictures of it, and it's a white 1980, either 85 or 86. I think it's the very end of the first gen run. It's clearly been sitting for a long time. He says that it's a classic ran when park situation. Like, he drove it to that parking spot, bought a new truck, and just left it there. It's in northern Arizona, so not quite as brutal as being just sitting in the sun down here. It's a white first gen with a tan interior, 4x4, 5-speed manual, air conditioning, rust-free truck. So the price, Andrew, is the classic price.
Oh,
And when the classic price was announced, I had to buy the truck. Because
is it the magic word?
you can't buy a complete vehicle for the magic price anymore.
No.
And it's like literally one of the 2 vehicles that I said I wanted. And it's the magic price. So those of you who have listened to the podcast for many years, I do apologize, but also, you know the magic price. And for years, the magic price was like, "Yep, we'll buy it. No haggling. That's the magic price. That means it's going to be a good car." We paid $800 for everything for years.
Yeah, it was the go-to price.
Yeah, every car was $800. So this truck is $800.
Yeah, throwback pricing.
Yeah, throwback pricing on a throwback truck for the vehicle that I've actually been looking for specifically. So yeah, I committed to buying it. It's about 2 hours north of here. It's not going anywhere. Truck's been promised to me. Now I just got to go up there and get it. My friend whose dad owns it said he'll go up with me and help me drag it out of the yard. So I'll just borrow probably Naomi's brother's truck again and drive up there and trailer it back down here. But I don't have a place to put it is the problem, because I'm in the middle of this construction project with the garage. I haven't moved anything out of here. I really want to fix a couple of cars and get them sold, but I just haven't had the chance because everything's in chaos over here. So it may require me finding a temporary home for the truck somewhere else. So I have to ask around the local friend group who might have a spot to stuff it in the yard for a couple of weeks till I finish this garage progress and get cars moved around and get at least one car out of here before I bring it home, because I don't really need it here. Even though I have more space now because I have a garage, but still, I'm trying to be responsible. But sometimes responsibility goes out the window when the $800 vehicle shows up. So, I mean, and also it's kind of like the perfect stablemate to the flat body Starion, because it's also white with a tan interior and was the same price and is basically the same year. and they're both 2.6 G54B powered. So they're like best friends already, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, because it was parked 20 years ago now, I decided that I would try to find a couple of parts that may. Actually, let me rewind that a little bit. I didn't decide to find parts. I got word that there was an 85 Mighty Max in a junkyard that had been freshly delivered to the junkyard here in Phoenix, and it was complete. So I was like, you know what? I went down and look at this, and if there's some parts on it that I know will be hard to find that might need to be replaced.
Which yard was it?
Pull and Save South.
Okay, so I think I went to that one maybe.
So there's two that are identical. One's south and one's north. They're literally just separated by train tracks. I think we did go in the Corolla to this one.
Yeah. It's like
anyway.
the yellow.
No. That's Pull and Pay. Or You Pull, You Pay. So that's You Pull, You Pay. This is Pull and Save.
Okay.
So Pull and Save South had this truck. So I went to go look at it, and it was complete. Nobody had touched it yet.
Ooh.
So I was hoping that it had a complete grill in it, because the one thing that is missing from this truck that I'm picking up is a grill. And this truck did have a grill, but the truck in the yard is a single headlight truck because it's a Mighty Max, and the truck that I'm picking up is a dual headlight truck.
Oh,
so the
I didn't know that. That's weird.
Grill is completely different. So unfortunately, the grill's not going to do me any good. The grill's cracked anyway in the one that was in the yard, but if it had been a matching grill, even cracked, I would have taken it, and because better than nothing. But it was a single headlight grill, so I left it. I was talking to another friend here, Moises, who's got a bunch of Mitsubishi stuff, and he said he actually has a dual headlight grill that we can probably make a deal on, so that's good. But what this truck did have was it did have an aftermarket Weber carb on it.
Ooh.
With all the adapter plates for the 2.6. Actually, not for the 2.6, it's for the 2.0, but I think they're going to be the same. But regardless, the adapter plates are cheap. The carb is the expensive part.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the Weber off of it, and it's a genuine Weber, not a Chinese Weber. So that's good.
Not a Weber?
Right, it's a Weber, not a Weber. It had an original metal tank radiator, which are no longer available. So I grabbed that. Unfortunately, it's going to need to be re-cored, but just having the core is good enough, because it's also the same radiator that's in most Mitsubishis. I think the Sapporo and the Starion that I have actually have the same radiator, so it'll be good just to have one as a spare. Yeah. So I grabbed that. And that's all I really grabbed off the truck, because everything else was kind of doesn't matter. I was going to take, tail lights and side markers, but every single one was broken on the truck in the junkyard. So unfortunately, I didn't get a ton of stuff, but I did get the carburetor setup and the radiator.
What do they charge you for the Weber?
$50.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's just a carburetor. They don't know what it is. $50.
I know, but that's I knew there what?
$300.
$300? Yeah.
Yeah. So $50. The carb was $50 and the radiator was $50. So it was $100. So
nice.
Yep. No problem. Oh, and I grabbed the coolant overflow bottle, because they're the same on every Mitsubishi.
The square?
1970 to 2003, I think. So,
yeah.
And they don't make them anymore. So to find a good one that's not cracked is rare. So, one thing the truck does have, which it was way too hot and I don't need it, so I didn't grab it, but I probably should have, is because it's a 2-wheel drive 5-speed, 2-liter. That means it's a 4G63 single overhead cam.
Yeah.
With the 5-speed, which means it's a narrow block 5-speed, which is what you need to do a 4G63 rear-wheel drive conversion and things. Yeah, I was going back and forth, and it was 111 degrees, and it was really hot, and I didn't really have the proper equipment for taking it out anyway. So I decided against it. They are available in usually a couple $100. So it's like, you know what? My time and effort's not worth grabbing this thing out of here with its unknown condition. So, and there are other options now for Ford G63 rear-wheel drive stuff. So, I just kind of, I may regret it in the future, but I left it in the truck. So yeah, it's pretty. Things are getting pretty serious, Andrew. Seems like I'll probably get in a D50 around here. So,
Mopar or no car?
it's in much better shape than the Toyota. It needs way less work than the Toyota. Even if the engine is bad, it needs less work than the Toyota because it's got all its body panels and it's not smashed. The Toyota is hit in the right front. The apron is damaged.
Mm-hmm.
And body panels are mismatched, and it needs a lot. This truck doesn't need anything as far as that goes. So other than a grill. So it needs a lot less. And it really fits the aesthetic of the Mitsubishi collection more anyway. So I did a bad thing and committed to buy another car.
That's fine.
I think this is a positive one. I don't think it's
Only $800.
Exactly. It's only $800, and it'll be a net zero because I'll be getting rid of the other one. So, and then once I have the garage, I can finish fixing the Mercor and finish fixing some other stuff and move some other stuff along. So, all will be good.
Sure, I'm glad I got that Volvo out of your way.
Yeah, whatever. Had to find a place for it.
Yeah, I haven't touched that at all. I gotta get it towed, and I just haven't had problem is I need to dedicate a day probably to waiting for a tow truck to show up.
Sure.
I can't be doing something else. That's the annoying thing. Maybe I can be doing some work, if I'm working from home or something. I don't know. It's just
You just AAA it and not worry about it. Wouldn't take long at all. It's not even illegal. It's plated. It's legitimately registered.
Just
broke down.
Hire a company locally.
Yeah.
Just easier.
Nonetheless. So yeah, new car on its way, new product on its way. Just what I needed. Another project, but it is what it is. I was talking to Adventure Driven Design Josh, and we were talking about worst case scenario. It needs an engine. I have what at least used to be a known good engine sitting at my parents' house in Massachusetts, under the porch, covered in a tarp, which is that Starion long block, complete with injection and everything and turbo and all the stuff. And he's like, yeah, we can stab that in there, and that's an easy wiring job to run on a factory stock Starion ECU too. So it's like worst case scenario, we can just do that. So maybe that's what we'll do. Or maybe we'll take the motor out of the white Starion in the backyard here and swap it over. Who knows? But nonetheless, I've wanted an off-road truck since I moved here. This will be the way I go. I have some plans for it, but let's get it here first and hopefully give it a light little lift with some off-road looking skinny tires and maybe some solid steel wheels. And
I think it needs a tubular roll bar and some KC daylighters on the top.
I'm going back and forth on that, but possibly we'll get a tubular roll bar. Sure. All depends. I'm also looking for a period correct cap for it to make it more usable for camping and stuff. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Well, one way or the other, or even a period correct style ladder rack.
Yeah.
That could have mounts on it for maybe a tent or something, or I don't know. I want it to be usable for camping adventures, basically, is what I want to do with it.
All right.
I'll figure out something. But it will definitely be 80s style. There were tons and tons of cool stripe packages available on them over the years. And I'll probably do one of those, replicate one of those on it. So I'll make it look cool eventually. But that's now, that's the big news.
That's Auto-Topic Cannon.
Yeah, for sure.
One
of the factory stripe packages actually is pretty close to the Auto Off Topic stripe colors as well. So
You could just do the stripe colors and then
Could
just
just-
pretend it is.
yeah, make the Auto Off Topic version of the truck. Make it our official shop truck.
The edition. But yeah, that's cool. So I drug some car updates out of you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it till I got the vehicle here, but I forgot I went to the junkyard, and it was my actual, I guess, project car progress was going to the junkyard for a car I don't have yet. So, yeah, it made for a fun day out. I went with Naomi and Courtney, her daughter, came with us, so we had made a little family day out of it. So, family day at the junkyard.
Like family day in a junkyard in 110-degree heat.
Well, hey, listen, at least we were all there to support each other in case one of us fell and collapsed. So, actually,
I know
we were looking for parts for her Sonata. Well, for Courtney's Sonata while we were there, but they didn't have any new enough.
I know. I still have the over-the-shoulder belt conversion for the Galant I haven't done yet. I've kind of forgot about that, actually. It's sitting on the shelf. That's something I should do where it's not too much work, I don't think.
Hopefully.
To be getting all sweaty. But what I've been planning on doing was trying to get the setting up the Talon so I can take the front bumper off and actually put the intercooler in that I've been talking about for like 5 years.
At least.
That was like I'm like, that's the project I'm going to finish this summer. So hopefully in like, a couple of weeks or so, I'll start that. But I wanted to need to get the Volvo moved, it over to my dad's, so him and I can work on that. But we both had other stuff going on, just haven't gotten to it yet. So it's eventually, I definitely want to get moving on that Volvo, because it's now it's like kind of in the way in the driveway. It's kind of getting annoying.
Next thing you know, you're going to tow it to the house in New Hampshire and leave it in the garage there forever.
No.
It'd be a barn find in 20 years.
The Montero's going to go live up there for the rest of the summer, though, to make space in the driveway.
Excellent. Maybe we'll even take it wheeling up there.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. We get some motorsports, casual motorsports enjoyer stuff. The
NASCAR. Always talk about NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, Pocono was like, kind of exciting.
I enjoyed
not.
Pocono. I enjoyed Pocono. It's cool because it's only 3 turns.
Yeah, there was some good parts of the race. There was other stuff that was like, all right, it's a little boring. I mean, I think they still have trouble. They're trying to figure out tire wear and making tires actually have a strategy to them.
Well, they've said that they're going to do that for the what races after Indy?
For Richmond.
Richmond, yeah.
So I believe we are getting in. It is Indy this weekend, the return to the Brickyard 400.
Okay.
And then they have Olympic break for 2 weeks for the Olympics because NBC carries the Olympics, so they're not going to carry the NASCAR race.
Okay.
So they're taking a 2-week break. And then they're going to Richmond, and NASCAR has already announced, like the other day, that they're going to allow prime tires, which are regular tires, and the softs. And then I believe Richmond is short enough that if it rains, they have the rain tire as well. But hopefully it doesn't rain. So, they are trying. They're trying to get some sort of strategy in there. So that should be interesting. Now, the Brickyard, you must remember when they first went there, right? Like what a big deal it was, right? In the 90s.
Was it like 97 or 96 or
94.
something like that? Was it that early?
It was 94, 95. Yeah, it was a huge deal, right? Because they had never raced there before. There was some good racing, right? Like Jeff Gordon won a lot of the races. That Gen 4 car was like really good there. And then
August 6th,
apparently
1994.
Yep. It was like it's funny. It's the part. It's like the time frame when like we kind of got out of NASCAR. I was reading about this. Like
So
it got
2000, early
really
2000s.
yeah. It really the racing really went downhill there, and nobody really liked it. They had an issue with like they had an issue similar to was it Bristol this year where the tires were just blowing out.
Yeah, it was Bristol.
Um, they had a similar issue there where like the tires were not lasting. In like 2008, like they last like 10 laps. They throw a caution. They have to change the tires. So I guess kind of after that, like they just took it off the schedule, and that's why they're talking about now like going back to the Brickyard. And I was like, going back to the Brickyard. I didn't realize they stopped going.
Didn't they run it last year?
No, they ran the road course.
Okay.
They have not run the oval in a number of years, I guess. See, isn't that weird? Like it feels like it's been there ever since the 90s, but
this is like a Mandela effect situation.
Like it went out of style. People just didn't like it anymore. The racing wasn't very good. I guess the car tomorrow didn't race there very well. The last gen car didn't race there very well. So they haven't done the oval yet in the next gen cars. So
they only it looks they stopped running it in 2020. So it's only been 3 years they didn't run it.
Yeah.
Which is the 3 years we've been in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? So they ran the 21 through 23 was the road course.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the road course race in 21 was the first NASCAR race I watched in like 15 years.
Yeah.
I think that's why I got back into it, because they were running the Indy road course. It's like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll watch that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first race that I watched. Now, the weird thing about that is that I thought that they also ran the oval in 21.
Nope.
But I guess not.
No. Isn't that weird?
That's super weird.
Yeah.
And also, they didn't call it the Brickyard 400 the whole time. They only called it the Brickyard 400 until 2004.
Yeah.
And then it was always called like... Oh, okay. This is why nobody wanted. Here's the name of it in 2012. Yeah. Crown Royal presents the Your Hero's Name Here 400 at the Brickyard, powered by BigMachineRecords.com.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was the name of the race in 2012.
Just stick with calling it's like if you call the Daytona 500 something else.
Yeah.
Like it's fine that they're going to go back to Daytona in August, and that's the like Coca-Cola. That's not the Coke 600, but it's like the Coca-Cola something. It's the night race at Daytona, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So you call that something different, but like if you're going to go to Indy, just call it the Brickyard 400, and then do like a sub whatever. But it should be the Brickyard 400 always.
Or yeah, or it could be like Coca-Cola presents the Brickyard 400. That's fine. But
because that's what makes it the race, right?
Right. Not the Crown Royal presents the Your Hero's Name Here 400 at the Brickyard, powered by BigMachineRecords.com.
Yeah.
That doesn't roll off the tongue. I had to go back and read it again.
Yeah. It's not the Mobile One Indy 500.
No.
It's Indy 500.
My favorite though, and this is changed here because of COVID, I'm sure. So the 18 to 19 version of the Brickyard 400 was the Big Machine Vodka 400. But the 2020 version of it was the Big Machine Hand Sanitizer 400.
Okay.
It's because that company apparently went from making vodka to hand sanitizer during the pandemic. Corporate America.
Yeah. And it's like, now having been to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, like I get it. I'm like, that's
presented by
pretty
Penske
significant. Cars. Yeah. It's pretty significant that they went there, and that they had never gone there before in the whole history of the Indy 500 until like 94.
Yeah, that's cool. Again, like I talked about last week, I wish there'd be a little bit more crossing of the things here. Like, let's run some events the same weekend. And I understand why they don't most weekends, because they want to sell tickets to an IndyCar race in one place and a NASCAR race in the other.
Exactly.
But let's do this for like I said, the road courses, like actually street courses, I should say, where you actually take over a whole city. Let's run as many races there as possible.
Yeah. So definitely, I would consider going to see the Brickyard 400.
Sure, absolutely.
So we'll see how this goes. If it's a good race, maybe that's something I plan on next year.
Put it on the schedule for next year.
But it was funny. It was something that always stuck out in my mind. Like I always remembered it because it was typically held on my birthday weekend. So that's why it was like something that stuck in my mind as a kid.
Sure.
And then I've actually got a picture. I put it in the Discord. Come join the Discord. Of the diecast truck I have from the 95 Brickyard 400 because I think
burgundy and gold.
No, it's white and teal. It's a NASCAR race truck,
right?
Because I think in '95 that's when the NASCAR Truck Series started, or was going to start, and they used one as a pace truck to sort of promote it. But anyway, that seems pretty cool. Definitely watching that race this weekend. And, then there'll be a break and Richmond with the alternate tires. So we'll see.
Yeah, 95. You're right. That was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I have a Brickyard pace car diecast too. I'll have to pull out, take a picture of. I think it's a Camaro. So it's probably like 97.
So, definitely like, the other news that came out at, now I'm blanking on which track it's going to be, but they're going to run an MX-5 Cup race at an oval. Was that also Richmond?
Was it, or was it Bristol?
I don't think it's Bristol.
Martinsville?
Martinsville. That's it.
Yeah, IMSA was like, hey, announcement from Martinsville. I was like, why is IMSA going to Martinsville?
People in the comments were like, yeah, let's run. Let's run. It'll just be a traffic jam with 50 cars.
Cool. It'd been cool, though. Yeah, it's MX-5 Cup is running at Martinsville, which should be interesting. I mean, those cars are all like, they're super close all the time. Like all the MX-5 Cup races are like beating on door handle to door handle. But are they just going to be like foot to the floor the whole time?
I don't know.
It's going to be like a race of attrition.
Martinsville's short track. So the event will be it'll be a 300 lap doubleheader called the Virginias for Racing Lovers 300. Mazda MX-5 Cup taking the track for 100 laps, directly followed by the 200 lap finale of the NASCAR Whelen Modified.
Okay, that was 300 laps with Miatas, and I was like, that's going to be forever because the NASCAR race is only 400 laps.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I know you don't listen to the Dale Jr. podcast, but he did a test there of these cars like last year, and he thought they were really cool and fun on the track. So
it's funny. I kind of remember that now that you're saying that. I remember him talking about driving Miatas because he talked about it. He was still doing the broadcast for NASCAR at the time, and he talked about practicing with the cars or testing the cars there at the time. So I don't know. Listen, I'm all for these experiments in motorsports. Like if we keep things the same, it gets stale, right? So
you were just saying they should mix racing bodies, right? So there's one right there.
Yeah, but nobody cares about NASCAR Whelen Modifieds.
Well, they're trying it like on a smaller scale. Maybe if it's like a cool thing, maybe they'll do it with the upper classes.
Maybe. I don't know what they would run on a NASCAR weekend, but
yeah, it's like interesting, right? You couldn't do
GT prototypes out there.
Yeah, you couldn't do it's not like you could do like Charlotte, like do a Roval and then use the oval the same weekend. It would be too chaotic because they sell, infield stuff, right, to camp.
Yeah, and there's talk about not doing the Roval in NASCAR next year, I guess. Or is it on maybe the year after? I don't know. I I want them to continue to do the road course. They're talking about getting away from some road courses, but I don't think they should. I think they should add more.
I don't, that's the thing I don't understand with this. It's like nobody ever seems to like any track they go to. So I don't really understand that vibe.
Yeah. Well, it's funny actually listening to the Hamlin podcast. He was talking about how the next 4 races are at tracks he likes, which is the first time I've ever heard anybody say that. Because normally the guy's like, I hate that track. I hate that track.
No, yeah. Normally every race car driver's like, I don't like that track. It's like,
Yeah.
why do you do this? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't like the tracks. You don't seem to like racing. It's really weird.
I don't like cars.
Yeah, that is also a weird thing to me. Sometimes you get race car drivers that aren't into cars, but
oftentimes it's strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like race car drivers that get upset that their fans are into race cars. Like what? How are you here? It's not an accidental career.
Yeah, it's weird. But I don't know. There's a lot of cool racetracks. I think that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, well, because the next gen car had several good road course races, so they added more road courses. Like, no, they should have more road courses, because if you want to attract more outside fans, like that's why they added Chicago and
even add back to older footage of NASCAR. Like some of the best historic racing footage is from road courses.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I think they're going to go to Mexico City or something. They're talking about. So
yeah, for next year maybe.
I mean, I imagine that's going to be a road course or a street course.
I assume so.
Yeah.
I want to see NASCARs at all the historic tracks. I want to see NASCARs at Laguna. I want to see NASCARs at everywhere.
Yeah, especially if Laguna goes away, it's like you might as well have a blowout race with NASCARs, unmuffled.
I mean, they support an IndyCar race there. They can support a NASCAR race there.
Yeah. But non-NASCAR news. I saw that Ford teased a Raptor T1 for Dakar, which is cool. They're going to go race Dakar. I don't know who's going to drive it, but
have they announced who's going to drive it yet?
Nope. So we'll see how that goes in January, because that'll be cool. Maybe they can challenge, like, I think it's Peugeot, maybe.
I'm not
Audi?
even sure.
I forget who keeps winning.
Audi is the electric class, though.
No, it's open, I think.
I still thought electric was a different class than everything else.
No, because it's like open prototypes, I think. I'm failing at this because I don't remember all these things. I can't remember everything about every bit of motorsport. I just enjoy it. So
the Raptor T1 will be raced by Carlos Sainz Sr. and Nani Roma.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's right, because he was racing for Audi, and I think they announced he was ending his partnership with them. That's cool. That should be very cool. If the thing can survive, then he could win with it very easily.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
he's definitely an experienced driver there. So
that's the funny thing about Dakar, is that the best drivers are some of the oldest drivers for Dakar. That's like the only motorsport where being 50 plus seems to be an advantage.
I wonder if it's a patience thing, like because it's so easy to crash out and ruin the vehicle in Dakar.
Maybe.
You have to have the experience and know where to push it and know where to be aggressive and where not to be aggressive.
Because like the top 3 guys are over 50. So, but anyway,
it's cool. I'll have to watch the video of it running up the hill at Goodwood, because I have not seen it yet. I haven't seen a ton of Goodwood coverage, but I also haven't been paying attention, I guess.
I always forget.
What I have seen has been cool. There's been some cool stuff that I've seen clips of. They were in Richard Petty's winged Superbird this year. That was cool. And they ran it at the same time as that Beast of Turin car, which is weird, but cool.
It's an event that I always forget about too. And it's like an event that, I should probably try to go to someday.
For sure. I mean, I saw some pretty epic photography this year from it.
The big thing was that, what you call it, Vermont Sports Car built another Subaru for the hill climb, like just for the hill climb.
Yeah, and it came in like third overall.
Yeah, against the Ford Supervan, which is electric.
It wasn't even
Which is
close.
cool.
It was like 10 seconds faster than everything else.
Yeah, but yeah, because the Supervan has like 2,000 horsepower
Right.
of electric, and the Subaru's like 670 or something. It's actually less than the Air Slayer, but my only complaint is that it's called Project Midnight, but it's like all black. Like, I don't know, they just sort of put a little more flair into it. There's not enough flair on this car. Like, it has flares, but it needs flair.
Maybe that was the point, to be kind of like, for so many years, all of the race car Subarus like that have been Hoonigan branded, and they've been over the top. And maybe they're just like, now we're not doing a Hoonigan branded car. Let's dial it back. Let's make it just black.
Yeah, a little boring for me.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to find the video of this truck going up the hill now, though, because it's got a 5-liter V8 in it. So it's basically a space frame with a V8 in it and a fiberglass body that doesn't look like anything, but I'm into it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of has like, the front grille sort of reminds me of a Bronco.
If
There's
you
a hint of Bronco in there.
you can see the family resemblance. Yes.
Yeah.
That's about where it ends. It's cool though. I'm into it. Listen, having an American manufacturer to root for, Dakar, makes it even more interesting to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Root for the home team.
It's cool because it's built by M Sport.
Sort of the home team. I thought they had built a Bronco they were going to run in Dakar, but I don't know where they ran that.
Maybe a different class. But yeah. Anyway,
Sweet.
I don't know. You got anything else?
I don't.
All right. I don't have much else either. We got the socials, I guess. You can try to follow us on Facebook, Off Topic Podcast. Definitely
It's
on
very
Off Topic on
easy to
Instagram.
follow us on Facebook because we don't post anything there.
Yeah. I don't even post from Instagram to there. So yeah, we're mostly Off Topic on Instagram, Off Topic on Threads. I am Ray Stinger on Instagram and Threads. And Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at TSISS350.
Yep. And Scale Autocast?
Sure. I need to start posting there as well. But Scale Autocast,
Yeah.
yes.
You know what would be a great thing for that is I think we need to put up some pictures of those Brickyard 400 diecasts.
All right, I go dig mine out. I think it's a Brickyard pace car. Now I'm probably wrong.
Well, at minimum, we've got mine. We do a little throwback for it to celebrate the Brickyard 400 this weekend.
No, I have some stuff I want to post. I have stuff I've been sitting on. I've just been... Life's been crazy, man. That's all I can say. Busy times. I haven't posted, I think, on my personal Instagram or the Auto Off Topic Instagram or anything in a while. So I posted that little RC Montero on Scale Autocast and on Auto Off Topic page, and that was on June 30th. And it's now July 18th. So
yeah, I like that little thing. I'm kind of curious about that. I meant to ask you more about that offline.
Sure.
But anyway, all right, cool. As always, keep your cars analog and aim for the roses.